Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolutely Jason Stuart, and I have a guest that I've been trying to get for literally a year and a half. I mean, Roger Guenveur Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason Stewart. Thanks for having me, and thanks for continuing to pursue me. You caught me, and I'm happy that you did.
Oh, because we had done a film together a year and a half ago.
That's right.
Called Dirty, and you
Right.
played the lead in this sort of Christopher Walken-esque kind of way, and it's basically a cop drama, and a dirty cop drama, and I play a couple scenes. I play a been there, done that bar manager, talks like this, you know, this guy.
And you do it very well.
Oh,
Jason.
thank you. That's just too much. That's so sweet. Because when I heard that you were doing the movie, I was so excited because I've been a fan for such a long time. And that's what's so great about this show is I could actually say the things I want to say in real life that I'm so embarrassed to say. And I was so excited. And the kid that I mentor, I'm not allowed to say the kid that I mentor anymore because he's a grown-up now. Paul Laya had introduced me to him, and he had seen you in a play, and he produced and starred in his own film.
And we did a film together in
Detroit called
Right.
Corner Store.
Corner Store. Right.
Yeah. And through that, by total coincidence, I got an audition for a film called Birth of a Nation, which is a biopic on black abolitionist Nat Turner, starring and written and directed and produced by the groundbreaking guy. He's such a groundbreaking guy, I think, Nate Parker and Armie Hammer, and so many other people, Gabrielle Union and Penelope Ann Miller, Jackie Earle Haley, Coleman Demonic. Is that you say?
Coleman Domingo.
Domingo, rather.
No.
And Asia from, I forgot her last name, from How to Get Away with Murder, the beautiful black woman that was engaged. If everybody remembers, she got engaged and she lost her engagement ring. And so many incredible actors. And when I got the call back, I saw that you were in the film. And I thought, I'm going to give Roger a call and see if I can have him put a word in for me. And you called me and you said, yeah, I talked to him, man. And, I didn't say much about you. It's like, talked about other stuff. And I knew him for a long time. I don't know. That's it. Go in there. Do your best. And he said to me on the phone. And then I hung up. I went, well, I guess I'm not going to get this. So I go all the way to the center of Savannah, Georgia. I'm in a strip mall where they have, perfect place, in a beautiful, beautiful place, but we're in a strip mall. And I see this man coming, and he goes, hey, I know you. And that's, Nate Parker. And I didn't recognize him with the beard and the hat. And he says, oh, yeah, I know you. And I went in and read, and I thought, okay. I did a thing and I left. I said, thank you very much. And I sent you an email, and I said, hey, thanks for putting a word in. And then I get home, and the agent calls me on the phone, and she says, what are you doing today? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing today? I'm home. I'm going to go to the gym. And she says, what? Is your day going well? I said, yeah. She said, it's going to get a lot better. And then I sent you an email, and I said, hey, I got the part. And you said you got the part from your audition. And
Absolutely.
And for an actor.
And I had that information, but I chose not to share it with you because you got it the old-fashioned way. You earned it. Congratulations. And it was tremendous working with you and certainly with the entire ensemble down there in Savannah, Georgia. It was tremendously historic occasion. The Birth of a Nation, I think it's an audacious title that Nate Parker has chosen for this work. Of course, we're in the centennial of the original Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith, very influential.
People don't know,
film.
at the time that film was considered a technical brilliance.
It still is.
It's for that time. But the film, the reason people hated the film, and is because the idea was that the slaves were happy after the Civil War, and that they were being happy to still be servants, and it was totally bogus.
And that there was rampant corruption during Reconstruction era, and that gave rise to the Klan, which was actually the original inspiration for this film. It was a novel called The Klansman. And so I think it's audacious on Nate Parker's part in a very good way to name his film this and to focus on what was the bloodiest slave insurrection that took place here in the United States. It was in Southampton, Virginia, 1831. And interestingly enough, Nate Parker is a Virginian. And
It's also crazy.
His focus on Nat Turner, I think, is an endowed one, and looking forward to its release. Knock on wood, next year, sometime early.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that it might come out in December for like a week for Oscars or for the award season, and that's the
Good. So
that's
you'll
the
be
help.
eligible.
Yeah, right. I don't think so, but hopefully for an ensemble award somewhere down the line. And there's so many things in this film that I think were so on point. I mean, the idea that Nate, who is such an activist and an advocate of black men, and what he's done with his short film, hashtag American, and starting this whole conversation and standing up and saying, hey, you know, this is not right. We need to do something. We need to look at this, and using his celebrity in that way, in sort of the same way that Nat Turner, in 1831, a black man who had the fortitude and the impetus to just become this preacher, learn to read, which was almost illegal in some places, and come to different plantations to give comfort to his fellow man. I mean, it's sort of extraordinary, I think. And it's a story about fighting back, which I love. And then having Edward Zwig, who also produced Defiance 5 years ago and directed it, about the Jews fighting back. And me being Jewish even touched me more because, you know, there's such a connection between blacks and Jews, I think, you know, starting from the civil rights movement.
Oh, I thought it started with Lenny Kravitz.
Oh. Well, he is beautiful. But it is sort of extraordinary, so many things. And Coleman in the film is, if everybody watches he's going to be on the new film, TV show, Fear the Walking Dead, you know, which is, I cannot wait to see, plays Gabrielle Union's husband. And, you know, to have two gay men on a film playing straight guys, I think that it's no mistake that Nate Parker cast me. I mean, I was always a little, you know, you always go into something, you know, I have a little bit of baggage, and you go into something thinking, hey, you know, what will they know? How can they change their mind? How, you know, people know about you. And now there's the internets. So no matter what you do, you can't hide anything anymore. There's no hiding.
You have nothing to hide. Your political commitment precedes you, both on the net and off the net. And I think that that's something that, if not, you know, overtly, was covertly inspirational to Nate, and that's why we came together and collaborated on what I think is going to be a historical piece of work.
Oh, I think so. You guys have to look for it. I mean, I can't wait. I think it's going to be a groundbreaking film because I think it's the first film that I've ever seen about slaves fighting back. I don't think I've seen a film about this. Have you? Can you think of any other film?
There have been other films. Quilombo was a Brazilian film that was made. There have been films about revolutions on ships. There have been films about revolutions in Cuba. But this is the first one really that focuses on the United States of America.
Right, and a black man saying, I've had enough.
Right.
Which I love. Now, you got everything. This has really been a really good year for you. I mean, Dope. Tell me
Dope
about
is
Dope.
doing-
It's in the theaters right now.
Dope is doing quite well. I
Tell
think
me
it's
about it.
opening
It
a
opened
run now.
2
Well, it's
weeks
opening
ago.
a new run at the downtown Indie Cinema, which is on Main Street here in Los Angeles. It's had a tremendous run and great response from places like Sundance and Cannes. It takes place in contemporary Inglewood. I'm one of the few adults in the film, so it's very much a youth-driven.
Who do you play?
I play a guy who is a Harvard graduate and who interviews Harvard wannabes, and who also has some nefarious activities in the community. And I won't spoil it for you.
And you're a Yale
but,
boy.
I am, so it was very difficult to put on that crimson, but, it's what I do.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back with Roger Guenveur Smith here on Absolute Jason Stewart. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Valerie Landsberg, and most people know me as Doris from the television series Fame. You're watching Absolutely Jason Stewart on T-Radio V. You're watching Jason Stewart on TV Radio V. Fame!
Should we jump in there with the last one?
Engaging interviews with intriguing public figures.
Informed analysis of the week's most important news.
The world's best bands.
Movies!
Langdon Nation, saving the world one dirty joke at a time. Saturdays from 1 to 3, exclusively on T-Radio V.
Oh my God, I'm only gay for pay.
Now you done heard a lot of talk about me and my niggas. Them outlaw worldwide my figures. From triumph to tragedy, to right back on top, and niggas still mad at me for pushing that big truck on 24 square feet in ATL game locked, yo. Now that's what my nigga got shot for, being too motherfucking raw for these fuckboys. See the darkness, see the light, he wanna kill it. Misery, love, company, and that's the real shit. But in 2004.
Hi, this is Danny Woodburn, and you're watching T-Radio V. Did it come up? Is it all right? There we go. He's good.
Hi, this is Casey Abrams from American Idol, and you are watching T-Radio V. That was too corny. I loved it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Jason's. Are we back? Oh, good. Welcome back to Absolute Jason Stewart. I was looking there. If anybody's not doing anything in Long Beach, come out to my show. Jason Stewart and Friends at the Laugh Factory out there. They just thank you for showing that, Jake. It's very sweet. Got some wonderful.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love Long Beach. It's
Yeah.
got some real people. So you were telling me you went to Yale Drama School.
That's right.
Which is, I am so jealous because that would have been my fantasy. When I was a kid, I didn't go to college for acting. I really wish I would have, because it creates this whole network of things and stuff. And I think, how did that come about? Tell me, I'm fascinated by it.
I started at Yale thinking I was going to be a historian. I was thinking I was going to pursue a PhD in history. And on a lark, I auditioned for the School of Drama after I had started the history program, and for whatever reason, I was accepted into a distinguished class, which included Angela Bassett, John Turturro, and
Oh my gosh.
I've been combining my interests ever since. So I feel very fortunate in that I had that opportunity, and it was a good experience. It was a challenging experience for me. It was a heady time, as a younger man, trying to, put together all of these interests and make them work in one stream of consciousness.
And you went first, your first film was School Days. Am I
School
correct?
Days, that's right.
Right, which I
Spike Lee.
did not know. It was the education of Jason Stewart, because I did not know anything about the color wheel in the black community.
Right.
And that I learned, and I have to say, he's one of my favorite directors, because I think he's such a groundbreaker, not just because of his color and what he's done in terms of politically, but because of his work and the way he shoots things and performance. And
I just wrapped a film with Spike 2 weeks ago.
That's what I heard.
Called Chirac in Chicago. And I had a lovely piece of work with my classmate, Angela Bassett.
I love that.
It was a great experience. I hadn't worked with Spike for some years, although we certainly have a great body of work. I think that was our 9th collaboration.
How did it come about?
Yeah. This one came about with Spike texting me on a weekend and saying, "Can you be here on Wednesday to work with the lovely Angela Bassett?" And I said, "I think I can do that." And so that's how that came about.
You go into complete actor panic mode.
Not really.
What did you play? Can you tell us or no?
Yeah, sure. I can tell you. I play an insurance salesman who goes door to door, trying to take advantage of the great tragedy that's unfolding in Chicago as we speak. Of course, the fratricidal violence in the black community there, and I'm trying to get single parents to take out insurance on their teenage boys.
Oh,
yeah. It's a very dark theme.
How can you, God?
It's a very dark theme, but this film, I think, again, is a very important one and addresses a contemporary dilemma in a very provocative way.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And Angela Bassett plays one of the moms, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Now, what was she like to work with?
Oh, she's a dream to work with, and it brought back really good memories of doing Chekhov with her and Shakespeare and what have you.
She's a force
of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my just to watch her, and I've been a fan for the longest time.
Yeah.
The longest time.
No, she deserves it. Absolutely, and so much more.
Now, the whole Spike Lee experience, I want to hear everything. So, how did it start?
We only have 32 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I want to know everything. How did it start? How did you meet him?
It started when I was doing repertory theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Guthrie Theater. It was my first gig where I just had to act every day. And I was doing Pinter. I was doing Ionesco. I was doing Shakespeare. I was doing Dickens. And I went to see this film called She's Gotta Have It. And I sat through it twice because it blew my mind, Jason. And it blew my mind. And I said,
tell folks at home, though, because they don't know. She's Gotta Have It
She's Gotta Have It is kind of... It was the king of the new wave of American indie cinema.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It was
Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and
Parker Posey.
Down by Law, Jim Jarmusch's work.
Mm-hmm.
This was the kind of cream of the crop of American indie filmmaking. And I saw this film, and I was really taken with it, and I said, I must meet this young man by the name of Spike Lee from Brooklyn, New York. He was doing a cattle call audition not far from where we're sitting right now in L.A. for his next film called School Days, which is about a college experience. And I stood in line with hundreds of people, and I had a joke, I had a song, and I did a part of the script.
What was your joke?
That was my intro.
What was your joke?
Oh, my joke was a very dirty joke. And I don't know if we can tell it here. Can I say anything?
Yeah, you can say anything you want.
I'll just tell you the punchline. The punchline is, the police officer did you a favor. You've been eating grass for the last half hour.
You know what joke that is? That's a Sophie Tucker joke. You know that, right?
Is it?
So you know who Sophie Tucker is?
Yeah,
singer, comedian, Jewish singer, comedian.
I thought it was my father's joke.
Oh no, it's a Sophie Tucker
I thought
joke.
it was Wild Man Steve Gallen's joke.
No, you know what's so funny about those jokes is that in those days they would take other people's jokes and say, "Hey, I'm doing Sophie's joke here," and no one was on television, so it didn't matter. And everybody would say, "Yeah, can I go do your book there? Yeah, I'm doing that." Yeah, oh, that's great. So, what was it like meeting him? I mean,
so it was great, and I told him how much I enjoyed his film, and I guess he thought that I was demented enough to play a fraternity pledge at a black college in the late 1980s, and so it was. And I went to Atlanta with some tremendously talented people from both coasts, and the rest is history. I've been working with him ever since.
He must have fallen in love with your work and the idea that there's a thing about you that I think is really interesting. There's a risk factor. When I watch, because I went to the set of Dirty a couple of times just to watch before I did my scene because, so many friends were in the movie, and I wanted to see, and that's what I noticed about you doing it, and I just loved it. I love the idea, I wish we had some scenes together. We only had that one little scene in Birth of a Nation, really.
That's okay.
And even
We're just getting started.
Well, if we had more, but I wasn't even allowed to look at you or pretend like you were there. So that was my first Roger.
Right.
Oh,
because I had to serve you.
Yes, Roger Guenveur. Guenveur. I've been saying his name wrong.
Smith. Very simple, Smith.
Roger Guenveur Smith.
Guenveur Smith.
Guenveur Smith.
Guenveur is my mother's family name. It originally came from Brittany, so it's not really French. It's Breton. Right, they have their own language up there in northwest.
Are you from New Orleans?
No, that I'm gonna show you what the passage was.
Oh.
The Guenveurs went from Brittany to what's now Haiti, and then during the Haitian Revolution, a slave rebellion, successful, more than 200 years ago, those people went to Charleston, South Carolina, which is where my mom is from, and so my mom then went to California by way of New Orleans because that's where she studied. And it was there that she became very much embraced by the Creole community in New Orleans, Louisiana. And that's my segue into my latest project, which opens at Bootleg Theater on the 7th of August.
To
it's
the
entitled
22nd.
Inside the Creole Mafia, which I've been doing for many years with my longtime friend Mark Broyard, who was born in New Orleans, grew up in L.A. around the corner from me. And we call it a not too dark comedy. And it's about colorism in the black community.
It's fascinating that because I until I saw School Days, I didn't really know about him. It's the same way in the gay community. It's like masculine to femininity. There's a certain element of what's better.
Yes.
And which is completely insane and ridiculous because it's just, it's just a color. That's all it is.
But the better, the norm, it's connected with power. It's a power structure, and colorism in the African American community has to do with power. It has to do with a colonial order. It has to do with white supremacy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
it's the same way in the gay community that being more masculine is considered better and being more feminine. So from the drag queens to the transgender people to whatever, that's considered less. And if you pass for being straight, that's better. There's a film out now called, a documentary called Do I Sound Gay? And I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of friends told me that they saw it and it was quite powerful for them because it's taking who you are and making you less because you're not like what's supposed to be, like you're saying, the norm.
Right.
And I would guess in the black community, for you growing up, what was that like?
It was like a lot of things. The Creole community is very strong here in Los Angeles. They came to L.A. from New Orleans during the great gumbo famine of the early 1960s.
Oh, yeah.
So you would go into my church hall, Transfiguration Church Hall, and it would smell like New Orleans because they'd be cooking that gumbo, that red beans and rice. It would sound like New Orleans. People would be talking like, hey, babe, what you see? What's going on, Shay? And this is not all a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is culture. But yes, there is colorism, and that is part of the history as well. So you have documented history of the fine-tooth comb test, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, where if the comb does
Doesn't
not
go
pass
through
through
your
your hair,
hair.
you ain't in the club. Or the brown paper bag test, where you pull out the brown paper bag, you know, and if you're darker than the bag, you ain't in the club. And Mark Broyard and I, you know, use that to lampoon, but it's
really powerful, I think. I mean, because I've seen things about it, and to me, it's just it's powerful, and it's hurt a lot of people, that brown paper bag test. I mean, I think it changed people's lives.
Well, it's something that we have to acknowledge, I think.
Oh, I think so, big time.
In order to move forward in this so-called post-racial America. So come on and get some, you know, red beans and race at Bootleg Theater, bootlegtheater.org, 2220 Beverly Boulevard,
And I worked
LA,
there before.
90057. It's a
beautiful.
great venue.
It's beautiful.
Fantastic
And if you
venue.
forget anything and you can't remember, just go to jasonstuart.com, STUART, like you always do, and I will send you right there to it. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a second with Roger Guenveur Smith.
Yeah,
right?
man. Smith. Perfect. Smith.
How can I not know that? We'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, we're Marissa and Juliana Stove, the Stove Twins, and you're watching T Radio V. That's radio in TV.
Hi, I'm Sheriff John Bonnell. You're watching T Radio. Radio and TV? What? That was perfect. Why are you asking me to do this after 12 drinks?
Hi, I'm Rob Hubel from Welcome to the Jungle. You're watching T Radio V, aren't you? Radio on TV. Terrible idea.
In TV.
You shut up. Use that one.
Hey, what's up? I'm Casey Abrams from American Idol. You're watching Absolutely Jason Stewart on T Radio V. It's a good take, right?
You sounded like you were completely like in a trance, like you were.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it? Did you feel the vibe?
And what's with the fakakta hair?
You don't like
You're
it?
a Jew, are you not?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
hey,
Your mother would be so upset.
You shouldn't be taking.
I know. Look at everyone. Look at the back of this hair. Dear God, get a brush. Get a brush. I'm Jason Stewart. We're on T Radio V. TV and the radio with the hair sticking out like some sort of homeless person.
Listen, I'm sorry I have hair. Hey, what's up? This is Josh Vietti, and you're watching T Radio V.
Hey, I'm Dean Cain, and you are watching T Radio V. I'm watching it too. Right now. Seriously.
Hey, hello, this is David Faustino, and you are watching T Radio V. Do you see what I'm saying? It's television crossed with radio. It's all together. It's weird. Radio's in the middle of it. It's amazing. You're watching it. Go.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
Hey, welcome back to Absolutely Juicy Stewart. Jason Stewart, because I'm worried about saying Roger's name wrong. Roger
Smith.
Guenveur Smith. So you did this, one of the big career highlights for you is doing Huey B. Lewis, right?
Keep going. Keep trying.
Wait, I'm going to get it. This
Huey Long.
Huey Long. Who's Huey Lewis? That's Huey Lewis. I'm all nervous about his name.
Huey Newton, bruh.
I can't believe that I get his name wrong, and
It's
I've known him
all
a year and a
right.
half.
It's all right. Huey Lewis, you know, good
He's good
singer
too.
from the Bay Area. Huey Long, governor of Louisiana, and he was actually the man for whom Huey P. Newton was named.
Oh, was he?
Huey P. Newton, of course.
So there is a connection.
Of course there's a connection.
Well, thank you so much.
It's all good.
You're so kind.
Huey Newton, the late co-founder of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. I did a solo performance entitled A Huey P. Newton Story.
And hold that. We're going to show a clip from that.
Let's do that.
And this will show you a piece of the brilliance of Mr. Smith. And what they're going to get to see when they go to the bootleg to see you, and I'm sure everybody will. Do you have that there?
I have two clips here. One is Iceland and one is Frederick Douglass.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, the show Frederick Douglass.
Show Frederick Douglass.
I thought I had the other one.
That's all right.
That's okay.
He was a precursor to Huey Newton.
And this will show you the
historically and theatrically.
The historical power of your work.
Fellow citizens, pardon me. Allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I or those I represent have to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? Such is not the state of the case, and I say it with a sad sense of disparity between us. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. By the rivers of Babylon there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion, for there they that carried us away captive required of us a song. Right? And they who wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
It's a good place.
Fellow citizens, above your national tumultuous joy, I hear the mournful wail of millions. My subject then is American slavery.
When I watched that, I saw the it's so funny because I watch things and I don't even listen to what somebody's saying sometimes because I'm so into watching the performance. And there's such a power and direction from what you do in these. And I watched like 5 or 6. I watched one of Huey and I watched one of the Iceland, which I really want to show later in the next segment. And I watched several of them. There's also this innate confidence of being who you are. It was the same way that in the movie when you put the plate down on the table, and there was a symmetry of I could feel it, you know, because people don't know when you're making a movie. Sometimes you have to cheat, and sometimes you have to do things physically to make something happen. So in this particular scene, there was just there was a powerfulness in everything you do. And that's the one thing. But yet in each character that you portrayed, the accent was completely different. The voice was different. And I love that. I mean,
that's what we do.
Well, it's the opportunity. You've created the opportunity, you know, also. I mean, you've created the opportunity for yourself by creating these. How many one-person shows have you done?
I don't know.
That's that many.
I don't know.
Now, a lot. Do you write them all?
No. Some are written,
and some are
adapted, some are built through improvisation and then written.
That's what I'm loving.
And some maintain an improvisatory.
So you're not
flow.
going to say if you come one night, you're not going to see the exact show that you would see on the other.
It depends on the show.
Yeah.
You know, with Frederick Douglass, you know, that speech that I was doing is a great speech of Douglass's. And the big challenge there was editing it because that 4th of July speech was probably 2.5 hours in its first rendition in the 1850s.
Wow.
Yeah. And nobody speaks that long any longer.
No.
Even Fidel Castro shut up, you know. So editing it was really the struggle there. But of course those are the words of Frederick Douglass. He didn't use a microphone, of course. But I got to do that on the National Mall just after Barack Obama was inaugurated president several months previous. And I was out there that summer with the Smithsonian. It was a great place to be and a great place to do Frederick Douglass. Of course, Douglass lived his final years in Washington, D.C. So here we are again. You know, we're in the 19th century, but we're trying to make that century resonate in the contemporary moment. I never like doing historical pieces simply as pieces of nostalgia, you know, for old time's sake. I want to make the work resonate for the present moment.
Well, there is a connection, I think. There's a large connection between what's happening now and what's happened before. It's just a different side of the envelope.
I took my family to Charleston, South Carolina, which is where my mom is from, for the first time. And
that was in May when we were shooting?
When we were shooting. We went up from Savannah. And I took our sons to 2 graveyards in Charleston. One was a white graveyard, and one was a black graveyard. And there were Guenveurs in both.
Mm-hmm.
And the tombstones were in English in the black graveyard, and they were in French in the white graveyard. But those are all my people. And we went to Fort Sumter, where the Civil War started. I took our sons there. And on the way to Fort...
Wait, tell people how old your sons are, too.
They are 4 and going to be 2.
Yeah, so this is extraordinary.
And they're very young boys.
I love that you did that.
And on the way to Fort Sumter, we passed by the church where the shooting was.
Mm.
And there was a crucifix outside of the church, a big cross. And my elder son asked, "What's that all about?" And I said, "Well, that's where, that's how Jesus was killed." He said, "Well, why did they kill Jesus?" And then got into an interesting conversation there. But how odd that we would go to Fort Sumter by walking past that church where my grandfather, who was a master plumber, had probably done plumbing. And a week later, we have this outrageous American tragedy in that very site.
Crazy.
So when you say, yes, the work that was done in the 19th century continues to resonate today, it absolutely...
Oh, I think so much.
It absolutely does.
So much.
And I must very proudly say that it was a second cousin of mine who climbed the flagpole in Columbia, South Carolina, and took down the Confederate flag.
Really?
Miss Bree Newsom, a brilliant young woman who is also a filmmaker and also a musician, a brilliant pianist. And she also is a great flagpole climber. And certainly wishing her all luck in her court case.
Oh. It's just... It's such a long, arduous, sad discussion.
But it's one that we must continue to have. I was just reading about Mr. Ito, who fought for the United States in World War II. He was a Japanese-American man. He went to Europe and fought and liberated concentration camps while his own family was interred here in the United States. Why? Because they were Japanese-American. And so their lives were
less
taken
than 100 years ago, yeah.
away from them. And he is 96 years old now, and secretly took a camera with him to the front line and took tremendous photographs, which are now on display at the Japanese American National Museum in Little Tokyo here in LA. So I'm going to get there for sure to see that presentation. So these are the things that continue to inspire us, to challenge us, and when we can do this kind of work,
and you're putting it in art. I mean, you put it so much in art.
Yeah, when we can do this kind of work, hopefully it will be rewarding, not simply for us as the artists, but certainly for the audience and for the community at large. I think we have to work not simply as artists, but we have to work as citizens.
Oh, I do believe that too.
And I know that you do, and I know that that's what you do.
You know more about me than I think I knew that you know about me. So when you did Do the Right Thing, that was an earthquake of filmmaking, because just take away the subject matter. It was a brilliantly made film, brilliantly written, brilliantly photographed, brilliantly directed, with actors and comedians, and I was just so taken by the film. And I remember where I was headlining no, I wasn't headlining because it was in the 80s. I was the featured act at the Laugh Stop in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And I remember we went to see it in the rent-a-car, and all the comedians went together because we had known Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence's first film.
And Robin
Late
Harris.
great Robin Harris.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I knew them all from the comedy act. And Martin and I had been on Star Search together.
Right.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know
boy.
you guys go back.
Oh, I didn't know you know that. We got to take a break? We'll
Okay.
take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk about that here on Absolute
Yeah, you
Jason
got
Stewart.
9 more. Let's do it.
Yeah.
If the fish swam out of the ocean and grew legs and they started walking, and the apes climbed down from the
T Radio V.
What did you play opposite Andy, Eric? Do you remember?
Andy and I worked as two employees at a network.
Okay. Oh, you're
And
forgetting the other thing.
I played a news anchor, and he played a reporter.
Okay, but the other thing you did, the thing you did on the Andy Dick show, who did you play to Andy?
Oh, is that when I played my sister?
You played his wife, Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played his wife.
Yeah.
You
So
guys
what's
have
wrong with that, Eliza?
Nothing's wrong with it.
He's got a great range as an actor.
Yeah, it just was funny.
Encounters with Eric and Eliza Roberts, Wednesdays from 2 to 4 p.m. on T Radio V.
Hi, I'm Frances Fisher, and you're watching Absolutely Jason Stewart on T Radio V.
So it's T Radio in a V?
Yeah, T Radio V.
I've been
TV
here 6
with
months.
radio.
So the TV goes inside the
No, the radio's inside the TV.
And then, so it's both.
Yeah.
And that's my show.
That's your
And
show.
you just did my show.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so excited. I feel like we're crashing into a Titanic. Oh, sorry.
If the fish swam out of the ocean and grew legs and they started walking, and the apes climbed down from
And we're back, and I'm here with Roger Guenveur Smith, and we're talking about Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that film just so blew me away. It made me fall in love with him. I mean, what did it do for your career at the time? Because I'm assuming School Days was not his most successful film. It was a building
interesting.
block film.
It was really interesting, Jason. You know that conversation that they have in, what's the film, Tropic Thunder?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's saying, if you're gonna get it, if you want an Oscar nomination, you can't go full on retard.
Yes, I remember that.
And he goes through several, acting experiences
Uh-huh.
that people have had, and whether they got a nomination or not. A lot of people felt when Do the Right Thing came out that Spike had gotten someone from the community and had put him in front of the camera, a disabled person. And I took that as a great compliment.
Oh,
of
God,
course.
yeah.
And, I was the only person who actually lived in that community when we did the film, because I was a Californian, so, I needed a place to live, so I got a place about a block away from where we shot.
So were you a local hire in New York?
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Come on.
wow.
What do you. So, low budget, baby.
Do the Right Thing was
by any means necessary. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
low budget for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in the neighborhood who saw me on the set, didn't know how to react to me when they would see me in the street when we were not shooting. And then after the film came out, people would come up to me and say to whomever was with me, does he understand what I'm saying?
But hadn't they seen you in the other film?
No. They had seen me in School Days with a shaved head. I looked completely different.
You played a real handsome you were a very leading man in that.
No, I was a fraternity pledge with a shaved head.
Yeah, but you had that sort of air of...
Yeah, but I looked very different from Smiley.
Yes.
And obviously talked differently. So people didn't know it was the same person.
Did they push you for an Oscar nomination?
Oh, come on.
No? Because I don't remember, it was such a long time.
If I had been... had been established and had then done that, then... who knows what would have happened at that point.
Wasn't this Rosie Perez's first film?
Yes, it was a lot of people's first film. Yeah.
There's a whole section.
But it was a tremendous experience, and I improvised that entire character.
Wow.
It was a Oscar-nominated screenplay, but if you look in it, there's no Smiley. And I brought the picture of Malcolm and Martin shaking hands that I personally colorized. That was my idea, and eventually Smiley became very aggressive, and he burned down the pizza parlor. He became the arsonist. And then, of course, he puts the picture of Malcolm and Martin up on the wall of the burned-out pizza parlor. So it was a very magical experience, and the collaboration that I had with Spike and the entire ensemble was... I think, of lasting value.
And then a couple years later, you went on to do Mo Better Blues.
No, I didn't do Mo Better.
Wait,
no, I did...
He Got Game, rather.
He Got Game, Get on the Bus.
He Got
Malcolm
Game,
X was the next one.
Right, which was... and Malcolm X, and also Gangster Chronicles, all with Denzel. Or Gangster...
American Gangster.
American Gangster, all with...
American Gangster,
all with Denzel. Am I correct?
Yeah, Denzel was, of course, He Got Game, played the dad.
Right, He Got Game. And then, so was that a coincidence that you were in
his
film?
It was just cross paths.
So was it, did he become a mentor of yours in any way, or a supporter? Because I'm assuming he has something to do with some of the other things, if he digs some people.
We have a good rapport. I think that it's funny, we did a scene in American Gangster, and at the end of the scene, he kissed me. And I said, you kissed me in Malcolm X. He said, oh, wow. He said, yeah, I'm going to be in history as the only man who's been kissed twice in 2 different films by Denzel Washington.
Oh, man.
But that didn't make the final cut.
Either one?
Oh, the first one did, yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was a scene, it was a really good scene of Russian roulette that the young Malcolm plays with this character that I play called Rudy. We're kind of, it's a pissing contest. Who's going to be in charge of the gangster operation there, the little gangster operation that we had going on in Boston. And so there's a game of Russian roulette. And it turns out that he palms the bullet that, he allegedly put in the chamber.
Well, to
but
me...
it's a pretty frightening scene.
To me, Malcolm X is a perfect movie.
It was...
I think it was, to me, it was a perfect movie.
It was a great achievement, I thought.
Oh,
and I was very happy to be a part of it. And Spike was actually out. We showed it at the Egyptian Theater for its 25th anniversary just recently, just this year. And it really stood the test of time, and such great performances in that. Not just, of course, Denzel Washington as several different Malcolm X's.
It was also such a learning experience for me.
But Angela Bassett playing Betty Shabazz, Delroy Lindo, of course, is West Indian Archie, Al Freeman Jr. as Elijah Muhammad. All of those.
And one of the stars of What's Happening. I forgot his name.
Right.
He was a comedian, and I forgot his name, but he was also in that.
It was chock full of great performances, and
I think it's going to
be
great
cinematography, and it's a film that almost didn't get made. It shut down production halfway through because it ran out of money. and the studio refused to pony up, and so it was individuals who contributed to make it work by any means necessary.
And on that lovely note, this has been absolutely wonderful. I wish I had another hour to talk to you.
That's cool. We'll see you at Bootleg Theater. Inside the Creole Mafia. Opens on the 7th, runs through the 22nd. Hey, la ba, baby. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. See you next week.
All right.
You are watching T Radio V, Radio and TV.